Hello, welcome to my photo studio and to ProPhotoLife.com. Today we're going to be doing more tabletop photography. You've probably heard the old joke, it's all done with mirrors. Well, today it actually is going to be all done with mirrors. We're going to use just one light and a number of mirrors to light this small product. This video gives me an opportunity to show you some of the little inexpensive DIY kind of items that we use in the studio for tabletop photography. One of the important things that we use is this silver poster board, which is readily available craft stores, paper stores, and we cut it up into smaller pieces so that we have small reflectors. The reverse side is white, so we have white or silver reflectors. The silver is going to reflect more than the white does, giving a sharper edge to the lighting. Another thing that we use are mirrors, and I just collect little mirrors when I find them. Different shapes, sizes. The mirror really reflects most of the light from the strobe. It's just like adding another light when you use a mirror, and we're going to be using mirrors today. One of the odd kind of mirrors that I've found, and I don't even remember where I picked these up, are some concave mirrors. And so they dip in the center, they're dished, and these create a very hard point of light. They really concentrate the light. So we have those. Then another very important thing are just little wood blocks. Wooden blocks are used to stack things, they're used to prop things up, and they're definitely used to hold things like the mirrors up. And the last thing I'm going to point out is just sticky tack. It goes by different brand names. It's available in office stores, and it's just a putty that's an adhesive putty that we use to hold things up on a tabletop set. So to illustrate the use of the mirrors, I've set up this small tabletop set with a scale model motorcycle. I worked for a number of years in the motorcycle industry. I've always been a motorcyclist. This is something I happen to have that would really lend itself well to showing this technique. Just to give us a little sense of place with the motorcycle, since it's a dirt bike, I put it on this small piece of slate and then have scattered sand around the perimeter. For the background, we have a board that's been painted blue. It's just clamped to a stick in a can here in the background. Then we'll be using our Calumet Genesis strobe light as the main light, well, the actual one and only light source for this photograph. Now the camera's in place down low and in front. I have the strobe positioned behind the object, shooting down on it, and also creating backlight. There are a few things I like about this. One is that it will light the top of the product, separating it from the background. Another is that it's going to cast a shadow forward. We're going to create a very dramatic photograph today. And then the other thing is that because we're only using one light, we're going to use mirrors as the rest of the lights. I need to have the light coming from a direction that I can pick it up and point it back onto the object. So let's take our first shot and see what we have with just the backlight. Well, we definitely have a backlit photograph. There's light along the top of the motorcycle, there's some light coming through the spokes. We are getting that dramatic shadow in the front, but we just don't see any detail on the front. So for the very first modification to this photograph, I'm going to take my board, I'll set it up, and then I'm going to lean my mirror against it and pick up some light right here in the important areas of gas tank, engine, and number plate. Let's take a look and see what this does. Okay, well now it's starting to look like a motorcycle. We've got good detail there. You know, I'd also like to pick up a little bit of detail back here near the rear wheel. Not a whole lot, but I just want to get something going. Now for that, because I don't need the light quite as strong, I'm going to use a silver card. And I just play with the angle to get it at the right angle. Well, good, it's starting to come together. You know, there's still a lot of dark areas that are getting lost in that background. I think another important part of the motorcycle, and as we discussed in the shot we did last week with the coffee maker, you have to keep in mind what are the important features of the thing you're shooting. And with this, I think the texture of the knobby tires is very important. I don't think every knob on every tire needs to show, but we do want to pick up some light in that front tire that's facing the camera, that's closest to the camera. If we can pick up texture there, then the viewer will know that that's really a knobby tire. Now, I want to pick that texture up using one of these concave mirrors because it really concentrates the light into a point. And I'm going to use a little sticky tack on the 2x4 again to keep it from slipping. And there we go. And I am just skimming a little bit of light into the front of that tire. Just right there. That's what I'm looking for. Let's take a look at that photograph. Good. I think that one little addition really says a lot. I think we're getting pretty good. You know, we do have this blue background though, and we're not really utilizing it. We don't have a background light, but we do have mirrors and cards. Let's use those. For just a little bit of light behind the motorcycle's front tire, I'm going to take a card and I'm going to reflect it into the back. And then I'm going to take one of the rectangular mirrors and shine it onto the back. Now to get the light from this mirror onto the background, I'm going to use a stick in a can and an L bracket. It's just a wooden L bracket. And by clamping this all together, I can situate this background light exactly where I want it. And I think you can see that clearly. You can also see that we're really getting the shape of this rectangular mirror on the background. I think it looks really good, you know, for just a fun, quick photograph using one light. Let's take a look again at all of the different things we've used here on the set, and then we'll go through the series of photographs. So we're using a total of 2 silver cards, 2 rectangular mirrors, and 1 circular mirror, and then just our Calumet Genesis strobe. So let's take a look again at our series. We started out with just the backlight on the motorcycle, very dramatic, you know, obviously no detail here. Then we added, using a rectangular mirror, light onto the engine and the gas tank. Then we added just a bit of light onto the rear of the motorcycle, the back tire and the swing arm. Then we hit the front knobby tire with some really hard light picked up from that circular mirror. Then we lit up the background using a silver card for just some gentle light behind the front tire, and then that very dramatic rectangular light on the background behind the rear of the motorcycle. So here we've seen how to really get some mileage out of just one light using mirrors. Pick up those scrap mirrors when you see them, those scrap pieces of 2x4, it can all be put to use in the tabletop studio. Even if you don't photograph tabletop product, if you have any kind of collectibles or for insurance purposes you need to photograph anything, this type setup will go a long way for what you're doing. And as you can see, it's like adding more and more hard light sources. These mirrors just mimic that main light, and it creates a very dramatic photograph. To see the actual photographs from this shoot, come to ProPhotoLife.com, look up episode 18, and there you'll find a link to the still images. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to the next video, and I'll see you then.